You probably know that things you write in the past become questions for nominees before this committee. So I'm going to go to what you authored, an article discussing the accomplishments of California's newest justice, Joshua Groban. You admired that he placed a high premium on diversity of experience and quote unquote perspective when vetting potential nominees to the federal judiciary. So, how does a judge's perspective, your word, or personal experience inform the judge's interpretation of law, and then whether or not those experiences might conflict with the judge supposed to interpret law and leave personal views out of his case?
Thank you, Senator Grassley. I believe the judiciary and judges in particular are enriched by having a diversity of professional backgrounds and viewpoints. I know that I have benefited from the diversity of backgrounds and perspectives of my colleagues, and it challenges me to keep an open mind and to consider their own perspectives. And so when I wrote that article, it was with that view in mind, that diversity of background, not only democratic diversity, but also professional diversity and different ways of viewing the world can help all of us in the way that we analyze cases. But as you mentioned, and as I had mentioned earlier, the central focus of the judge is to apply the law impartially and fairly. And I try to do that every day with all of my cases by considering their arguments, the limited record before me, the lower court's decision, and those governing precedent and standards, and let that determine the outcome of my decision making.
Okay. I want to go to your work on California Proposition 57, where a large number of criminal defendants were released to the public. Some convicted criminals were released early before the proposition was even passed. Opponents of the proposition cited increasing crime statistics, a 10% increase in violent crime, 37% increase in rape the year before. Do you think the release of convicted violent criminals under Proposition 57 contributed to that increase?
Thank you, Senator. If I may provide a little context for the law, Proposition 57 was passed in response to a federal court order that found that California's prison system was unconstitutionally overcrowded. It was an order that was affirmed by the United States Supreme Court in Brown versus Plata in 2011. And so Governor Brown was faced with the task of complying with the court's order in a way that would ensure that public safety would be protected. And the choice that he faced was either allowing the federal courts to order the outright release of prisoners to achieve that population reduction, or to create a system of parole consideration for nonviolent offenders and sentencing credits that would allow inmates to earn their release from prison. The law itself did not automatically release anyone. What it gave was an opportunity for those to try to prove that they were worthy of release in front of a parole board, or to complete rehabilitative programs to earn an earlier sentence. And in the governor's view, that was the safer way to approach the problem that we had to face, rather than indiscriminate releases by the courts.
Okay. I'd like to have you talk about your trial experience, specifically your criminal trial experience. How many criminal trials have you personally appeared in court for, and explain that role?
In litigation at my private law firm, I was involved in one criminal defense, and it was in state court, and that was at the early stage of that process through the preliminary hearing. And then the matter was stayed as we petitioned for review before the California Supreme Court. I do not have a great deal of criminal trial experience, but in my role in the state government, I had to deal with many criminal issues and corrections issues over the course of many years. And as an appellate justice, fully half of my caseload of the 490 or so cases that I've issued or joined have involved criminal appeals, and have had to develop a deep knowledge base on those issues.
Thank you for your answers.
Thank you.